Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about highlighting and contouring. I show you kind of my version of how I contour and highlight my face. I tried to make it as informative and helpful as possible. I talked you through each step, the products I use, the brushes I use, and everything like that. Again, this is just my version of how I contour. It's not for everybody. Some people like it a lot more stronger, some people like it a lot more natural. I tried to make it kind of more on the natural side because I think that's the most beautiful. But yes, this is my version. This is how I do it on my face. It's not going to work on every face shape. So yeah, if you want to see how I got this chiseled and highlighted contour, then go ahead and keep watching. Okay guys, so right now I just have my eye makeup on, a layer of foundation, and a little bit of concealer. I just concealed like right under here because I'm going to show you how to highlight with the concealer, but yeah, that's what I have on. So you're going to want to do your eye makeup and the foundation, and then after you get all that on, you are ready to begin the contour and highlighting process. Okay, so once the foundation's done, your next step is concealer. I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Fair, and what you're going to want to do is take the concealer and first draw a line down from your inner corner down the side of your nose, and then kind of create a triangle motion with 3 different lines. So one line's going to go here and one line's going to go straight across under the under eye area. This is just going to really brighten up that under eye area and give this whole section a highlighted effect. You're going to want to lift that area, and that's what it's going to do. And then I'm also going to take the concealer and put it down the center of my nose, and a little flower thing on my forehead, on my chin, and a little cross. And then I also put some kind of right here because I can tend to look kind of dark right here and like look like I have a mustache, so I put it there as well. Once you have those all on, you're just going to blend it out with either a brush or a sponge. I prefer a sponge for this portion just because I think it blends it out nice and evenly. And when you're blending, you're going to want to make sure that you're tapping up and down and you're not swiping, because that's going to move the makeup in areas that you don't want it to be. You put it in specific areas and you want it to stay in those specific areas, so just pounce up and down, and that's going to make sure you're just pressing the product into your skin rather than moving it around on your face. And make sure when you're blending out this concealer area that you're pushing it into your inner corner. A lot of people can tend to get a little blue in that area, so you're going to want to make sure to highlight it with the concealer. So basically what this is doing is drawing attention to the areas that you want to brighten up, where the light would naturally hit your face. And then when we contour, we're just going to accentuate the areas that the shadows normally appear on our face. Okay, so right there you can see how highlighted I am with just the concealer. And now I'm going to go in with some cream contouring. Okay, so for my cream contour, I'm going to use this NYX Wonder Stick. And this is in the shade Light Medium. This one had the most cool toned contour shade. You can see that right there. For contouring, you want to go with a very cool toned brown rather than like an orangey warm tone. That's just going to make it look the most natural and like an actual shadow on your face rather than a bronzer. Okay, so you're going to want to take that contour side and you're going to go right back by your ear. And you're going to draw a short line going towards the corner of your mouth. You don't want to drag it all the way down to that area. It's going to look a little too makeup-y. You're just going to want to keep the line kind of halfway down your cheek. And then when you blend it, it'll kind of work its way through that area. And then same thing on the other side. Corner of the ear towards the corner of the mouth, just halfway. And then you're going to draw a few lines by the hairline. You can, this is not anything precise, I'm just putting some product there. And then I'm going to draw a line down the side of my nose on each side. And then you're going to want to put 2 lines right here, and then a line across right there. But that's all I do. Some people do, you know, a lot more. This is as much as I feel that I need. But you can do whatever you want. Basically, you're just creating those shadows and accentuating the natural shadows on your face. Okay, so now that I have the lines placed where I want them, I'm just going to take this sculpting brush from Real Techniques, It's just basically like a angled contour brush, but it is synthetic, and that's why I use this with the cream. You're going to want to use synthetic bristles rather than real hair bristles when working with creams. It's just going to blend a lot nicer. A natural hair is going to soak up the product, whereas this one will keep it all on the face and just blend it out. Take the brush at this angle, so the longer end is towards my ear, and I'm just going to pounce up and down again on that line that I drew on my cheek. And you're going to want to make sure that the bottom of the brush is right on that line. You don't want to blend downward with the contour, you're going to want to blend upward and across the cheek, if that makes sense. So if anything, you're going to move up like this, not down. This will make it to where your cheekbones look higher rather than you looking like a skeleton. If you drag it downward, you're going to look hollowed out and kind of scary looking, honestly. So make sure you're blending upward and just across the cheek. And this brush does a really good job at really blending out those products so they don't look harsh. So again, I am pouncing up and down, I'm not swiping, and you can kind of turn the brush. Sometimes I turn the brush this way so it can blend more upward easier. So you can see how nicely that blends it out. It's just really easy with this brush. Okay, so you can see this area is now highlighted, and then the contour is all blending upwards like that. And now I'm going to go move on to my forehead. And with this, on the sides right here, you can kind of bring it in. But at the top right here, you're going to want to keep it higher just because it looks better when these areas are more shady and not too much this way. And remember to bounce your brush and not swipe. It's very important because if you're swiping, it's just going to get really messy very quickly, and your foundation is going to be all over the place. Now the forehead's done, and moving on to my nose. So first I'm just going to do these bottom areas by my nostrils, and then I'm going to take my brush right there, then blend out the sides. And you're going to want to try to keep this product exactly where you placed it. You don't want to blend to this way and not at all towards the center of the nose. You want the center of the nose to be highlighted, and you don't want to take it too far this way, the contour shade, because it just looks best when it's in that precise line. So just kind of don't even move around the product, just pounce up and down on it to diffuse it. Okay, so once you have your cream products blended out, you're going to move on to powder to set those areas. If you just leave the cream how it is on your face, it has a tendency to kind of slide and move around throughout the day. Setting it with powder is going to make sure all those contour and highlight areas stay put, and it is lasting throughout the day. So for my powder contour, I am going to use my Lorac Pro Contour Kit. I love this contour kit. I just think the shades are perfect for any skin tone. All the highlight shades are awesome. The powders are just really blendable, very finely milled. I just can't say enough good things about this palette. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is set the highlighted areas, and I'm going to use this Real Techniques setting brush. I love this brush for setting under my eyes. It just fits perfectly under there, and it's so soft. First I'm grabbing a little bit of this beige highlight shade. It's the lighter of the two. You're just going to, again, pounce your brush up and down, don't swipe, and you're going to want to go inward and outward, and this is going to make sure there is no creasing. So I'm going in, out, and out. And then kind of drag it down towards the side of the nose and towards the corner of the eye. And then for the rest of my face, I like to use a translucent powder just because I don't like to add extra coverage, and those powders from the contour palette do have color in them. So I'm just going to use this Makeup Forever setting powder, and I'm going to dump a little bit into the cap. And what I like to do is I like to set the sides of my nose like this, just because I feel like this area tends to move around throughout the day. And then I like to set in between my eyebrows. You can take those other powders and apply them on other areas if you have more oily skin. My skin does fine with just setting those areas. Nothing else really moves around on me, so that's just how I do it, but apply it more wherever you need it. Okay, so I'm going to do one more thing with the translucent powder, but for now I'm going to move on to setting the contour that we have. Okay, so first I'm going to take this light contour shade from the contour palette, and I'm going to use the Morphe M523 brush to set the cheek contour area. And this brush is kind of flat on each side, so you're going to want to concentrate the product on one of the sides of the brush. So I'm going to use this side. Got a little too much. Okay. I think that's way too much. But anyway. Okay, so I'm going to take that side that I concentrated the product on. So right now I have most of the product on this top side and hardly any on this bottom. So I'm going to take the most of the product on the top, because you're going to, again, blend upward. And you're just going to start back by the ear. You're always going to want to start back here because you want that to be the most contoured, and then it's going to diffuse as you get towards the mouth. So take it back here and just start pressing the product in to that area. And then you can kind of start blending. And as I'm blending, I kind of turn my brush sideways. Like that. And then same thing on the other side, concentrating most of the product on the top, starting back by the ear, and blending it. That is a lot of contour. And going up where I contour my forehead. Okay. And then for my nose area, I take this Real Techniques brush. It's the concealer brush. It is a super skinny angled brush, and I use this for my nose contour. Normally I don't do cream, and you probably have seen me use this to contour my nose with powder. Normally I use these Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. So I'm just going to dip that brush in there, and I'm going to put it in the same areas that I put the cream contour. So starting up by the eyebrow and dragging it down the side of the nose. Same thing on the other side. And then you're going to do a little V by your nostrils. And then a line across right here. Like that. And a lot of the time when I do this, it's a little bit too much at first, so I kind of just take my fingers and blend it. But once I have my powder highlight on it, it'll kind of come together, but yeah. I just blend that out a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is kind of clean up those contour areas, because oftentimes after you go in with the powder, it does tend to kind of get a little bit messy. So I'm taking this brush from Morphe. It is the M459, and I'm going to use this to clean up my contour underneath my cheekbones. So I'm taking that same Makeup Forever translucent powder, and I'm going to just go right underneath that contour and clean up that area. Like that. And I need a little bit more. So if you do tend to get a little bit messy and blend downward on accident, this is a good trick to clean up that area. And it just makes the contour that much more on fleek. So basically I just applied enough powder to clean it up, and then I just wipe away the excess like that. But if you have more oily skin or your makeup moves around, feel free to add a bunch of powder and put it in that same area that I just did and kind of leave it there for a couple minutes and let it bake and sit and then wipe it away. That'll help it not move around too much. So now I'm taking that same brush and the same translucent powder and I'm going to clean up my nose contour a little bit. So I'm just going to apply it. So you want the center of the nose to be highlighted and then right next to it to be contoured and then after that to be bright again. So I'm taking that powder on the side of that contour and God. Just kind of brushing it away. And then that should help that be nice and cleaned up. Okay, so now that we have our contour all set, I am just going to show you how I bronze after that, because sometimes I not only like to contour, but I like to also add a little bit of bronzer just to kind of warm up the face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this big fluffy brush from Sigma, it's the F30, and then I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick in the shade Bronze. And I'm going to take that. This brush, you can really get a nice bronze with it, but I just did all that precise work, so I'm going to just take the product on the very side of the brush and I'm going to add that more towards the center of my face. With the contour we kept it back here. With the bronzer you kind of do want to bring it more towards the center just because that's where the sun tends to hit you, is right in the center right here. Okay, and you can even add some to that forehead area. This just kind of adds some warmth. Okay, so now we're going to move on to blush, and I'm going to use my Morphe E4 brush for blush. Wow. So I'm going to go in with my Benefit Cheekathon palette, and I think I'm going to use this shade Dandelion for a little bit of a peachy or baby doll pink, I guess. And I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush, and what you're going to want to do is turn the brush sideways like this and just pop it on the apples and then kind of blend it backward. Like that. And then same thing on the other side. Turn the brush sideways, start on the apples of the cheek, and then blend upward towards the temples. So last step is powder highlight, but first I'm going to kind of finish the rest of my makeup. I don't have like under eye eyeshadow right now or my brows done or anything, so I'm going to be right back once I do that and then we'll finish off with the last step. Okay guys, so I completed the rest of my makeup and now we're ready for the last step, which is powder highlight. So what I'm going to do is go in with my champagne palette, whatever this thing is called, and I'm going to grab this Wet n Wild brush. I don't know the name. I need to find out the name of this brush. But I got this at Walgreens, I believe. And it's just kind of like a big fat fan brush and there's something on it. And I'm going to go in with this shade. It's called Prosecco Pop. And I'm going to grab that again on the side of the brush. Like that. So keeping it all on that one side. And then I'm going to start on the very tops of my cheekbones and drag it down towards the front of my cheek. Like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Top of the cheekbone, down towards the front of my cheek. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit on my brush like that, and then apply it above my eyebrow. I like to highlight this area. And then same thing on this side. And then I'm going to take the very tip of the brush, like this area right here. I'm going to pop that into the Prosecco Pop shade and get the very tip of my nose. And then on that same tip of the brush and apply it right here on my nose. I'm not going to drag it all the way down, I'm just going to keep it right up here. Because we contoured this area right here to make the nose look a little bit skinnier. So we're going to want to keep the highlight right here and then skip that area and then right on the tip of the nose. And you don't have to highlight all these areas. This is just what I do because I think it looks the best on my face. But you feel free to skip like the nose or maybe just do the tip or whatever. Okay, so then I'm going to take a little bit on my Cupid's bow right here. This is going to give the illusion that the top lip is a little bit fuller, which I need because my bottom lip devours my top lip. I'm going to do it on the very center of my chin. If you have a large chin, don't do this because it will accentuate that area. So I'm highlighting the areas that the sun would hit and bringing attention to those areas. That's just going to be the most natural look on my face, and it's going to, oh, I just threw my brush, and it's going to accentuate the natural shadows and highlights that natural light would give you. So when you're contouring, you're kind of almost chiseling away areas that you want to bring less attention to. So if you have kind of chubbier cheeks, you're going to want to make that cheek contour very intense and very precise, and that's going to cut that area and make it look a lot more sculpted. If you have a large forehead, you're going to want to do a lot of forehead contouring, and that's going to make the forehead appear smaller, and you would bring this area down further as well. If you have a large chin, you could even contour that area and don't do the highlight, and that's going to draw attention away from the chin area. If you have a small bottom lip, which I don't, so I don't do this, you can put a little bit of contour right under that area and it's going to make it look a little bit poutier, but obviously I don't need that. Again, I don't really like my nose. For some reason I just feel like it's like big or something, I don't know. I just don't like my nose. So I do a lot of contouring on my nose to make it appear thinner and leaner and all that. So basically, contouring and highlighting is a way to accentuate and draw back certain aspects of your face. I definitely don't do this every single day at all. I actually don't really prefer to contour this much my face. I prefer like the non-touring that's going on right now, which is basically just bronzing up the areas that your sun would hit, and that's about it. Contouring can definitely backfire quickly. If you are more mature, I don't recommend doing as harsh of a cheek highlight because it's going to hollow you out too much. You're going to want to just take a brush like I used for my bronzer and just do that, and that's going to be just enough for you. You don't want to do too much on the cheek area. But definitely my tips are blending upward, keeping it back by the ear and not drawing it all the way to the corner of the mouth area, and the pouncing up and down motion rather than swiping. Those three, if you just do those 3 steps, your contouring routine will look a lot more put together, a lot cleaner. And then of course you can fix the mistakes with the little brush that I used earlier. Of course, like I said, don't feel the need to do all these steps. You can just skip certain areas and, you know, maybe just do like the cheek contouring, skip the forehead and the nose, do whatever feels best for you, and work on what areas you feel that you need a little bit of help with. For me, it's my nose. Some people it's their lips, their chin, whatever, their forehead. Don't feel the need to do it all. But yes, so that is the completed look, and if you have any questions or anything like that about the products or the techniques I use, definitely leave me a comment on either on this video or on my Instagram or whatever. I'll feel happy to answer those for you. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you found this video very helpful, and I think that's all I have for you guys. So I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later, guys. Bye!